Welcome to the Fit Dad Nation podcast, forging strong fathers and raising a stronger generation. It's time to get up or shut up with your host, Steve Roy.
Hey guys, this is Steve Roy, the host of the Fit Dad Nation podcast. Welcome to the show. Thank you for listening. So before I get into today's show, just want to share a couple things here. One, we've got a great private Facebook group that if you're a dad and you're struggling with accountability or looking for a place to get some legit information that's not hyped up with all the fucking bullshit that's out there in this industry, I encourage you to apply. It's called Fit Dad Base Camp. You can find it at fitdadnation.com/community. It's a no-nonsense group. I'm so tired of all the marketing bullshit that's out there that, it seems like everyone's out there just to sell you something, whether it helps you or not. Oftentimes it's worthless. So we also have an awesome group of dads. It's a private membership program called the Fit Dad Nation Inner Circle. We do tons of stuff in there. It's actually a massive resource for dads looking to get fit or stay fit. We do monthly challenges. We're actually getting ready to kick off a 8-week transformation challenge coming up here in a little over a week. And I'd love for you to take a look. It's helping a lot of dads. You can find that at fdnic.com. It's called the Fit Dad Nation Inner Circle. So today is my 48th birthday. And I wanted to just share some of my backstory so you guys get a better understanding of the person that you're listening to here. Because, one of my biggest frustrations being an online business owner is coming across the seemingly endless supply of fitness marketers just trying to sell you shit. And there's so many just, fake coaches, teenagers basically with good bodies that are, calling themselves experts, selling coaching programs, diets, whatever. It just gives me a bad taste in my mouth. I've always hated sales. I've always hated marketing, but I chose to go in this business, and obviously this is part of it. But it's just something I've never liked. So I prefer to do business face to face. I don't want to be just a name or a brand, be hiding behind a website and a PayPal button. So I want to share a little bit about my story today, and I've been thinking about this all morning. My birthday, and 48. I'm not a spring chicken. I mean, I could certainly be well past the midway point of my life, and that kind of scares the hell out of me. I have 2 little girls, 14 and 10. I want to be around for a long time, which is one of the reasons why I do what I do. But I was thinking about this, and I think about why I started this business back in 2014, and it wasn't to help dads who are already fit get fitter. It was to help guys that aren't fit or don't know what to do, don't know where to turn, don't know how to get started, don't know if they're doing things right. It was to help those guys. And I still, to this day, 5 years later, I believe that's absolutely true. I do attract a lot of guys that are pretty fit already, but I really feel like the men I can help most are those that I don't hear from, those silent guys that are kind of lurking in the shadows of my groups or my social media accounts. And those are the people that I want to reach. I want to talk to you. I want to hear from you because you guys need the most help. If you're already pretty fit, you don't need another fucking workout program. I mean, you don't. I've written countless numbers of workout. I mean, I've got program after program. We've got tons of challenges, different workouts, all that kind of shit. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't need that. What you really need is consistency. And for those of you that I'm trying to talk to right now that are struggling, that don't know the next step, you just need to get started. It doesn't really matter with what, but I want to be able to help you with that. And what I wanted to talk about today was for those guys that I'm talking to right now that I'm not hearing from because maybe you don't feel like you have anything to offer, or you just don't want to ask a stupid question, or any of those things that are holding you back. I want you to just understand a little bit about my history and where I came from, because I've heard a lot of people over the years say, man, you must have been, the football quarterback in high school. You were probably a stud growing up, an athlete. And I wasn't any of those things. I was actually pretty much the opposite of those things. And I think giving a little context as to where I came from may help you to break out of your shell a little bit and open up and maybe even take enough action to reach out to me or reach out to somebody and say, hey, man, I need help. How do I get started? What should I do here? Please help me because I'm struggling. And that's the important thing, because being stuck in that place fucking sucks, and it happens to a lot of people, and it can, suck your life up doing that. So I'm going to share a little bit about my schooling years, which were the worst. That was the worst time of my life. And I look back and realize, I wish I could have those years back, because I see so many kids now. I see high school kids now. These kids are studs, man. We've got, beards and chest hair, muscles on top of muscles. I mean, they had girls all over them. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I was nothing like that. Nothing. So when I was 6, my parents divorced. My mother took my brother and I to New Hampshire, left my father in California, and we only saw him every summer per the custody arrangement until I was 18, my whole life. And so, 2 boys wanting to be with their dad is nothing more difficult than having to leave him, especially in LA where everything is sunny, and we spent every summer at the beach, at the pool, playing ball, going to ball games. It was awesome. And then we had to go back to cold and shitty New Hampshire and to a place we didn't want to be. And I was miserable. I was angry at my mother. I blamed her for a lot of things. I withdrew really into video games, first Atari and then Nintendo and then Sega Genesis, and progressed from there. So I really withdrew, and it was a really tough period in my life because I lost myself, not only in video games, but in heavy metal. I got really into heavy metal, and I would literally lock myself in my bedroom and just play video games all night long, or listen to Slayer or whatever it was back then. Slayer, Testament, Anthrax, a whole bunch of them. And that was kind of my little cocoon. And I was severely underdeveloped as a kid. I was always one of the smallest. And unfortunately, I didn't hit puberty until I was out of high school, which is a fucking nightmare. And it was a nightmare for me because when I went into junior high, which is for me 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, it was a huge school. I remember the dark hallways. It was a scary place for me, and I was a little kid, and I was very timid. I didn't play sports, and I got lost in the hallways. And back then, if there were tough kids in the school, or there were kids picking on you, or threatening to beat you up, or beating you up, you didn't run to the guidance counselor or the principal or whatever and say, he's being a bully. No, there was no such thing as a bully back in the mid 80s. It was, you either stand up for yourself or you don't. I chose not to. So there was this one kid, Roger, who for whatever reason decided that he was going to make my life a living hell and threatened me quite a bit. Like, I wouldn't say every day, but enough to keep me afraid. And I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my father, my mother. I didn't tell my brother, who I shared a bedroom with. I didn't tell any of my friends. I kept it to myself. And I remember, crying myself to sleep at night before school, thinking, oh, tomorrow's the day that I'm going to get my ass kicked. And I just wasn't the kid that was going to fight back. I just wasn't that person. And, it took a couple of years from my life. I mean, I look back and I spent the better part of 2 years just terrified every day of what was going to happen to me. And oddly enough, that day never came. I ended up kind of trying to become his friend, if you call it. And so, I ended up, avoiding an ass kicking. But it was a shitty period of my life. And so going into high school, I was still a little scrawny kid. They called me Stickman actually all through, even into my 20s. My nickname was Stickman because I was rail thin. I had no muscles. I was super skinny and dorky. I went to high school thinking things might get better for me. They did not. It was a big school. I think there were 3,000 kids in the school, and I knew about 3 of them. And I didn't really have any friends, and I still, again, went home and I would rely on my video games and my heavy metal, my Walkman. I would lose myself in metal. And that was kind of my high school experiences. I didn't play sports. I didn't date. I didn't do any extracurricular activities. Actually, I took as many easy courses as I could just because I didn't want to be there. I wanted to just basically disappear into the walls, and even got so bad that my senior year, it was my business management class I had, and I had taken zeros my entire high school career for any and all oral reports. Like the thought of me getting up in front of a group of other kids was terrifying to me because I had no confidence in myself, none. I was just that kid, and so this report came. It was a book that I had to read on Lee Iacocca, and I said, nope, I'm going to take a zero. I'm not going to do it. And she said, listen, Steve, you're barely passing this class. If you don't do that oral report, you're going to fail this class. And if you fail the class, you're not going to graduate. So, you got to, what are you going to do? So I did it, and I was terrified, of course, but I got through it. And, I still remember just sweating. I mean, sweating. And back in the day, this was back, in high school, we had our gym class and, we had to change into our gym clothes. And that was like the worst thing for me because, my friends or the kids in my class, at least, they were all developing, right? They were getting body hair. They were developing facial hair, deeper voices, those types of things. And I wasn't. I literally looked like a 12-year-old girl with my shirt off as a senior in high school. I was maybe 5'6", 115 pounds-ish, rail thin, and I was super insecure, like super insecure. And I remember the coach would do shirts and skins for a particular sport like basketball, and that would just send me into almost a panic, thinking, oh my fucking God, if I'm a skin, I've got to take my shirt off in front of my whole class, and then they're all going to laugh at me. And like that was my mentality back then. Looking back, who fucking cares now, right? That's like stupid when you think about it. But as a kid growing up, the way I grew up, being so unhappy and angry and not kind of fitting in anywhere, that was a terrifying thing for me. And it was tough. I barely graduated high school. And my father, who's an academic, he has his PhD. He spent, 10 or 12 years in college. And then he ended up spending his entire career working at a big university in California as a professor and then a full researcher. It was all about academics. And he said, Steve, you graduated high school. Where do you want to go to college? I'll start applying. I'll pay for your school. And I said, fuck no, I'm not going to school. Get me far, far away from school. And unfortunately, that's what I did. Actually, I spent 10 years traveling in the country, which is what I needed, really. But it wasn't until my 30s that I went back to college. But I needed that time. So, I spent from, I would say, 7th grade to 12th grade, those years, absolutely terrible for me. And, I just, for whatever reason, it's genetics. I didn't develop like normal kids, and I was super insecure about it. And and then the bullying, of course, didn't help. So it cost me a lot, and I carried it with me for many, many years. But it wasn't until my 20s that I ended up hooking up with a group of guys who became friends of mine through a different friend of mine that introduced me to the gym and kind of pushed me into the gym. And it was I think it was a world gym back then. This was a long time ago. I remember just following what they were doing, whatever they were doing, whether it was leg extensions and presses and squats and all that stuff. I would just follow what they were doing, and I got super consistent with it, and I actually fell in love with the whole gym idea and ended up getting certified as a trainer for the very first time in 1997. But, it wasn't until my mid-20s that my body actually started to change. Like, it was crazy. Like, oddly enough, I went to my 10-year high school reunion in 1999, and I showed up, and nobody, not one person, recognized me, because that's how much different I was. Like, it's like going through puberty. I went through puberty when I was out of high school, and I started to change my whole face. The shape of my face changed. My body started to develop. I put on probably 30 or 40 pounds. A lot of it was muscle over those years. And I was a different person completely. I had done a ton of self-work in the years leading up to that, workshops and these seminars, and I became a much more confident person. And so it was like night and day. It was crazy. And so, I wanted to give you this backstory because, I have not had it easy by any means. I wasn't blessed with good genetics, believe me. Fucking terrible genetics from a fitness standpoint. You know, I could have easily gone down a different path. But I will tell you though, I mean, I'm 48 today. You know, I'm as fit as I won't say that I've ever been, because back in the day I was like 6% body fat. I was super lean and ripped. You know, that's just not in the cards for me today. I don't have any interest in trying to get there. But you know, I'm 180 pounds or so. I don't know, maybe 13% body fat. You know, and I feel pretty good. I feel really good, actually, a lot better than I did 10 years ago. And so, you know, when you think of a 48-year-old guy, what do you typically see, right? A fat, balding guy who's got a huge gut, can't move very well, can't touch his toes, right? Sitting at a desk, you know, that kind of stuff. And, you know, that doesn't have to be the way. Now I just lost power again. You probably can even hear the thunder outside the window here, but it doesn't have to be you. It seriously doesn't. And so, you know, I want to say that if you're listening to this show and you're in a place that you're unhappy with and you don't know where to turn, and you don't want just another fucking fitness guru giving you some lame ass advice or some generic template or some other bullshit, that's just not my story. I don't ever want to be that person. I have no interest in that. And I'm not that person. And so, you know, I encourage you to reach out to me, you know, join one of our groups. I mean, we do tons of shit online, the Fit Dad Nation on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff. You know, we've got some free groups. We do free challenges. You know, get involved, but feel free to reach out to me. My email is steve@fitdadnation.com. And, you know, I really wanted to share this because I think it's important, because, you know, if you think, oh man, look at this guy, he's 48, he's probably not even 48, he's probably lying, because I mean, I don't want to look 48. I mean, when I was 17, I looked 12, which was horrible, but today, you know, at 48, you know, people think that I'm in my, you know, early 40s for sure. And so, you know, I don't want anyone to think that I'm just another fitness marketer or a fitness personality, you know, or fitness brand. That's just, I don't want to do business that way, and I never have. And so, you know, I just encourage you to reach out. You know, I answer every single email, I answer every single personal message, DM, whatever, because I like to do business face to face, and I always have. And so, you know, please, if you listen to this and you need help, if you're a dad and you need help getting started or getting put on the right path or given a direction, just need some motivation or a slap in the fucking face, wake up call. You know, I had a fucking rough childhood. You know, I went through a lot of shit as an adult, had a really strained marriage for a lot of years, and then a divorce, had a lot of stress in my life. But I've come out on the other side with all of this, and I've just done a ton of work on myself. I've been very consistent. And I surround myself now with really good people. And, you know, I get to do what I love every single day. I'm helping dads just like you. So please feel free, reach out to me, connect with me. Let's have a conversation. And I hope this has helped. And I will talk to you next week.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, if you want more information, check out the Fit Dad Basecamp group on Facebook. And don't forget to stop by fitdadnation.com. Until next time, keep kicking ass and taking the next step. You can do this, Dad.